Hi Prudence, welcome to Rishikesh. Rishikesh, India, the yoga capital of the world and a magnet for spiritual seekers from all walks of life. We're very fortunate to have you with us today. You need no introduction. We understand you are the sister of Mia Farrow, the daughter of Hollywood actress Maureen O'Sullivan, and the daughter of director and producer John Farrow. Also, you were the focus of the Beatles song Dear Prudence, written 50 years ago here at the Maharishi Ashram, high above the Ganga River. This is where the Beatles and many other famous celebrities gathered to learn and study with Maharishi the advanced knowledge on the nature of human consciousness and how it can be easily developed and expanded to its full potential through the practice of Transcendental Meditation, or TM. So thank you, Prudence, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Tell us about your journey here and the reason for your journey here.
Good question.
Back in '68.
Oh, I thought you meant now.
Oh, well, tell us about however you want to do it. You can tell us about the
they're
journey.
tied together.
Yeah, the difference between 1968 and 2018, 50 years later.
50 years later,
Tell us all about it.
I'm here at this point in time due to a very close friend of mine. But I'm here as a pilgrimage to the past, because back in 1968 when I first came and I just turned 20, I was just entering adulthood and facing my future and struggling with questions as to what kind of life I wanted, what kind of world I wanted to be a part of, and how I could remedy the things that didn't make sense to me, or how could I contribute and make a better world for things that also were not happening in the proper ways from my perspective. So coming here was very important because it changed my life. It changed me in such profound ways that it's very hard for me to describe. In fact, I wrote a whole book about it.
Yeah,
because it's very hard. It's
yes.
very hard to answer in one or two or three words. Why one would leave your home when you're young and travel to a distant, very exotic land.
Sure. How did you hear about Maharishi? How did you even know about it?
I started Transcendental Meditation when I was 18.
Okay.
And a friend of mine had been to Rishikesh and had been with Maharishi, and he was the one who told me about TM.
Okay.
So
and you were already a seeker.
I was a seeker. Yeah, I was looking for deeper answers, for a reason to go on into this world, rather than just sort of, we talked about before, every man for himself approach. That's not a happy approach. I lived in Hollywood. That was sort of the epitome of the American dream, where everybody was, or a lot of people were living that every man for himself. And there was a great tragedy and unhappiness. And it helped me see that here I've lived a life that everybody else is striving for in America. And look what it is. I mean, there's a lot of drug abuse, there's a lot of alcohol, suicides, all of that. And that helped redirect my attention to a deeper kind of meaning in life. And so that began a journey. But the real beginning of the journey was when my father died and I had a spiritual experience. And once I had that spiritual experience, which was very profound, nothing could measure up to that. I mean, you could have said, okay, here's a $10 million. Of course, now I might take it a little differently. But back then, I would have said, no, I'd rather that deeper connection. That's going to carry me through life. That's going to make life meaningful. And I've got to find it.
Yes.
So that set me on the direction of seeking, looking. And there are stories that we could read of sages and what they called rishis and people in India who found peace, true peace,
Sure.
and that could live in a more meaningful way,
Yes.
and that were wise, and were living, not just, you know, in our tradition we have Jesus to follow, but we don't really have too many others.
Yeah.
But
That's
in
true, yeah.
India there are lots. It's over and over there are these rishis, and over they have these experiences of profound peace.
Yes. So I understand that you've written a book about your journey here to visit with Maharishi and to learn and study the advanced knowledge of human consciousness back in '68. So without telling us the whole story of the book, tell me why you wrote the book, what motivated you to write the book, and how that's going to help young people and seekers just like you were back in '68.
Yes, because this is because the reason I wrote the book was because of young people. And I was once a young person, and they have life ahead of them. So there's, you know, if they're at all conscious, that's very thought-provoking. It makes you more philosophical in a way about how you'll enter this life ahead. But what brought the book about was that my grandson, who now is 22, but this was when he was 18 or 17 or 16, around there, and he came to me and he said, "Grandma, you have to come to my school. I want you to talk to my friends. I've got a group of friends and I want to introduce you to them." And I said, his name was Shen. I said, "Why do you want to introduce your friends to your grandmother?" "Shenny, I know you love me, but I was young once, and I know that usually we don't like to meet grandparents." And he said, "Just come, Grandma," because he's a generation there where I am so old that he tells me what to do. So he said, "Just come," and I obediently obeyed and went. I didn't realize, I had forgotten that I am dear Prudence, right?
Yeah.
And my daughter's generation, his mother, could have cared less. I mean, dear Prudence.
Yes.
I mean, once my daughter said, "Mom, get over it. You're a minor celebrity. Nobody cares." So I kind of had given up the whole thought of, you know, I just didn't think about it. And when I arrived, the friends were waiting, and actually it was quite a large crowd, and they were very excited to meet me. It was almost like I was a superstar. And suddenly it dawned on me, I was so thick, it suddenly dawned on me that they want to meet the Beatles, dear Prudence.
Yeah.
And that was what they wanted. But what was interesting for me were the questions they asked.
Sure.
Because I said, "Are you listening to the Beatles music?" And they said, "Yes, we love it." And then they said, tell us, why did they, or you all of you, why did you think the world could have peace, could be in peace? Did you really believe that? Did John Lennon really believe that could really happen? And I said, yes. You know, I still believe it. If enough of us decide to make a change in ourselves, we can bring a world of peace. But we have to have a real change. It can't be ideas, because we've had those for thousands of years, hundreds of years, and they haven't made much of a difference. I mean, even with the best intentions, we still revert to our old angers and jealousies and fears and all of that. But if people really could become peaceful and deep and wise, and kind of like the Jedi Knights in Star Wars.
Yes.
If they could really do that, then you know, humanity would have a chance to live and create a better world. And I was telling them this, and to them it was like speaking about magic. or fairies
yeah.
or things.
Yes.
But I realized after I talked to them that the message that what we learned when we were their age, a large group of us in the 60s, was that we could change ourselves in a major way. And that was with technology from India,
Yes.
from the yoga tradition, from the meditation they have, which is extraordinarily profound. And you can read in the history of India of these great people created who were more than the rest of us. They were deeper, they had better insight, they could embrace difference in others, they could look past themselves, all of that, which are the qualities we need to survive each other
Yes.
into the future.
Yes.
So this is real. I mean, otherwise there is no hope for us. There is no hope for peace. If we stay as we are, we can create the best technology in the world, but it will turn bad in our hands because we're not doing anything to make ourselves better. And we see a world, what the world can be like if we don't do anything.
Yes.
So now we're at a point where people should be smart enough where we can adopt the best wherever it is. And the best in that case, developing ourselves, comes from ancient India. It's real.
Yeah.
Yes. It's real. I can tell you, I teach it.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it changed my life. I've seen
Yes.
many, many people's lives change.
Yes.
And they become better people. I mean, you really do become deeper and more awake, more generous, and more giving. It's
That's
real.
wonderful. That's wonderful. So, TM changes one from the inside out.
TM, Transcendental Meditation, is a term that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi coined for his what he did is he took the ancient practices of yoga, particularly the crown jewel of dhyana, meditation, and he simplified it and streamlined it so that those of us in the Western way of life who don't have much time, we can't change our lives. We've got children, we've got to make money, all of this. We can get what people who have the time to give up their lives, go into the Himalayas or go somewhere, we can get the same thing.
The same profound peace.
Same
Just
profound peace.
20 minutes twice a day.
He calls it transcendental meditation, but it is yoga, the ancient yoga of the rishis.
And so it's available for householders, college students, children, even they're teaching in schools today.
Yes.
Wonderful. So any age,
any age, and that's what I've been doing for years and years, is teaching this. I've taught thousands of people. I've seen many, 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 many miracles.
Wonderful.
Because in the West, we have developed, we never turned inside.
True.
So our solution was, let's control the world outside us.
Yes.
So in order to do that, we put all our intelligence on controlling this world, creating technology, and making it so we can have what we want, where we can make it the way we want. And that has worked. But what we're finding, and especially the young people who are growing into this world that we've all created, is that we can't sustain that lifestyle. It's too stressful.
Sure.
It takes more and more to make it happen. And, in order to do that, we have to take medicine.
Yes.
Because we can't do it. We can't keep going without something breaking.
Yeah. Stress is the number one cause of illness, they
exactly.
say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so now we're being forced to try and find a solution that's not medication, that's not something out here, but something in here that we can become healthier from, stronger and deeper.
Yes.
And that's this tremendous wisdom from India. It's it's the future.
Yes.
You know how we look at the future with jets, you know, these amazing computers and all of that. Well, now I'm saying the future is in the past. If we want the future, we have got to have that. We
Yes.
will not have a future if we
We'll
don't have
destroy
it.
ourselves.
We will.
If we continue to live unconsciously.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Prudence, for sharing your knowledge and inspiring wisdom with us today. We're excited to learn more about TM, so you can go to the website tm.org for more information and find a teacher in your part of the world who's taught worldwide.
All over the world.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And your book, is it on Amazon, Dear Prudence? The
Yes.
Story Behind the Song.
That's right,
Which
Dear
will
Prudence.
give all the details of your journey here back
Yes,
in 1968.
it'll be interesting. It's a story of many people in the 60s.
Wonderful.
And so I think people will enjoy it. But it's a spiritual story.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being with us today. For the for people practicing yoga today, yeah. So we had one more question about yoga practitioners. They're so focused on the asana, and that's really just a part of yoga. Is that correct? And meditation is the ultimate level of yoga?
Well, neither of those are levels. They're
Okay.
practices.
Okay.
But the crown jewel of the yoga practices is the mental practice
Yes.
of yoga. Because what you're doing is changing your consciousness, meaning you're becoming peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that what the mind does very naturally, it's very easily distracted.
Sure.
And so we've all sort of got stuck in our minds that are busy. But there's another part of the mind that's silent. And it's the foundation of the mind. Meaning that the mind needs that. Just like a flower needs roots in the ground, so does the mind. It needs to be rooted. And so what yoga tradition gives us is a method to be able to connect with our deep silent part. So we're connecting the busy mind with its foundation, and what that does is it settles the busy mind and it balances it so that it starts to behave more peacefully. And it's very, very amazing. It can change everything because the mind is the basis of everything. I mean, we could have everything, but if we're not happy, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So if you are, situated healthily inside, where you're grounded, and you have access to the full mind, then you can be healthy. You can relate to the world in a way that you're not using it because you need it to satisfy holes, or you think you need it to give you needs that are there because of stresses and lack. But once the mind gets grounded or rooted, then it's stable and full. It's full. So it doesn't need to be searching for all these things. It becomes satisfied, and you begin to live in a much healthier way, so you can give to life and appreciate others and differences and all of that. I'm saying it quickly, but it's extraordinarily profound.
Sure.
And it is the only answer we have for humanity in going into the future. I don't care what technology we create. If we haven't done something with ourselves, those will turn into hellish nightmares, all of the beautiful technologies.
Yes.
But if we make ourselves strong and wise and deep, we'll have a different world, and we will have a world in peace.
Thank
So
you.
that goes back to the children.
Yes.
And as far as the yoga people, it's a journey. Yoga is a lifetime journey, and the asanas are part of it, but there's so much more.
Right.
And they know about it when they do Shivasana or Shavasana, whichever group calls it. For a moment there, they taste something transcendental, something big.
Yes.
Now that is what the meditation does, is it connects you in a far more profound way with that part of the mind that you're barely tasting when you do the yoga asanas. So as yogis, please go further. Our world needs you. We need you. We need you. A lot of us who made this journey back in the 60s, we're going to be gone. We'll be gone. Please listen to us. You know, we went through 1968 was not a happy time. Our world was crumbling. We were looking for answers, and we looked very hard. And the only answers we found, a large group of us, the Beatles included, was that they're inside.
To look inside. The answers
And
are
the
inside.
wisdom of that science comes from India.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So Prudence, tell us how you can become a teacher of Transcendental Meditation.
Very good question. It's a good question and very appropriate to where we are. Here we have people from all over the world coming for yoga. Yoga means union with that foundation of the mind, peace. So, of course, we have to think the next step. How do you become a meditation teacher? You have to start meditation first.
Yes.
And then the rest will happen automatically. We're all ready for you. We need you guys. So come on, start TM as soon as possible. If you're a real yogi, please begin as quickly as yesterday. And you will, of course, be greatly rewarded. I'm talking to you about something that all the time I'm talking about, but it's like somebody who's never heard music, and I'm trying to tell them about music. I'm trying to tell you there is so much more than what you're experiencing now.
Yeah.
So please go further and start TM. It'll open you up to that, and we're ready for you. So just start.
Thank you for sharing your time with us today. We wish you a safe journey home.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. I want to introduce so that you can see what I've been talking about. You can see Maharishi, you can hear his words from a film that was done in 1968. It was right after he'd been in Rishikesh, when I'd been in Rishikesh with him. And it was in Canada at Lake Louise. And he's talking about TM, and you'll hear it in his words.
The depth of the lake and the ripples and the beautiful reflection of the glacier reminds me of the story of inner life. The mind is deep like a lake. The ripples on the surface represent the conscious mind, the activity of the mind on the surface. And the whole depth of the lake is silent. And that is the subconscious mind, which is not used by the waves. But if the waves could deepen and incorporate more silent levels of the water, the waves could become the waves of the ocean, the mighty waves. This is what happens in Transcendental Meditation. The surface activity of the conscious mind deepens and incorporates within its fold the depth of the subconscious. And with practice, nothing remains subconscious. The whole subconscious becomes conscious, and a man starts using full potential of the mind. And the reflection of the glacier on the water is like the impression of the objects that the mind perceives. And as long as the mind is not capable of maintaining its essential nature, which is bliss consciousness, so long the mind gets imprinted by the perceptions of the objects, and this is called the bondage of the mind. The mind loses bliss consciousness and gains the joy of the reflections of the world, the joy of the relative order, losing the bliss of the absolute eternal being. When the mind is not capable of maintaining its essential nature, the bliss consciousness, and is overshadowed by the reflections of the object of perception, then only the object remains and the subject as if becomes annihilated. This annihilation of the subjective nature within is a great loss. It's a loss of eternal bliss at the cost of temporary joys. Such a life where the value of the matter dominates is called material life, and the spirit gets annihilated. But when through the practice of transcendental meditation, the mind goes deep within to the source of thought, transcends the thought and gains bliss consciousness, and is capable of maintaining that even when it comes out into the worldly experience of objective nature, then it is called spiritual life, that the spirit is not capable of being overshadowed anymore by the objective experience. And this is spiritual life. This is life in eternal liberation. And without this, life is in bondage, a great loss, as if loss of £1 billion and gain of 1 million, loss of eternal bliss consciousness and gain of a worldly fleeting joy. The vision of the lake brings about a great teaching of spiritual life. Life is bliss. It's pure existence. Just like the flower is the sap. So different layers of manifestation of pure existence, pure being, absolute consciousness, pure intelligence. This is what life is. And as it expresses itself, it expresses in layers of existence, layers of energy, layers of intelligence, layers of bliss, happiness. This is life. See all this beautiful nature. People in their sad and miserable moods, in their stressed and strained life, even if they come out to this beautiful nature, they can't enjoy. What is needed is the bliss out of transcendental meditation, the joy, the happy mood. If all the population of the people could practice transcendental meditation, they'll enjoy all this nature to the maximum. We are going to create a society free from suffering and stress and strain, and then really the gift of God on earth, such pretty nature, will be enjoyed by everyone.